Your brain is here. The broadcast is over here, Dan.
All right, Ben. It's I don't even know what to say. You just do introductions. I need a minute.
Bottom left-hand corner of Cloud Kingdom leading 1-0 after some incredible star senses being shown on Abyssal City is Fnatic Raid Call Oz. His opponent up in the top right-hand corner of the map. Wearing the blue trunks, as Total Biscuit might say, except he would say it in a way that would sound way cooler, is Naniwa. In the blue trunks.
Yeah, you're right. That's what Total Biscuit does.
I love Total Biscuit.
Okay.
I actually realized something the other day. There was a time in my life when if I was curious about a video game, I would go to a website, look up some reviews. These days, if I'm curious about a video game, I just go to Total Biscuit's YouTube.
He does get a lot of pre-release access to stuff. And he does. He's generally very entertaining when it comes to being able to play through games, and he's able to break down the core mechanics very nicely.
What are you doing, Naniwa?
He's proxy gating.
This is a very prepared build, as we can see. Based solely on the positioning of these gates. This is in a spot that you're going to see it every single time if you scout on 9 or even on 11.
But Oz doesn't scout here. He's instead going for a very standard build. But this is wow.
This is Naniwa punishing Oz for not being a player that scouts, and this is double gateway on 8 supply, by the way.
Oh, he's also sending the probe delayed. He's sending it down the ramp and then back up, so that way it's not suspicious scout timing.
So very aggressive, crazy cheese here from Naniwa. Will it work out? Is the question. Cybercore is already down for Oz, and he's like, wait a second, that's not supposed to be there. Naniwa. So what will the response be from Oz? He's going to have to try, I guess, to... it looks like he's going to end up just trying to chrono boost out Eunice and catch up. That's never going to work.
Well, you know, he did SimCity very nicely for this, actually. The pylon as well as the Cybernetics and Gateway set up a nice choke. If he can buy enough time, he might be able to get his Stalkers out as well, although normally you would encourage a second Gateway somewhere around here if you wanted to fight with only Zealots, so I think you really just want to wait for the Stalkers. One is on the way. Oz also trying to pull his probes off of gas, realizing the dire situation. Naniwa starting to work on some of the probes as well. 3 Zealots against 1. Naniwa, can you do this? I mean, he's got so much advantage. Another Zealot coming in through the top, trying to see if he can flank the probes, and now he forces the engagement, but there's a big surround. Zealots doing massive damage. Stalker now also pulling out. Naniwa did sacrifice a ton of his economy. He's on 8 probes. He has to at least kill half of them in order to make it worth it.
This might just work, though. Oz is completely given up. His Oz is just going to like kite these Zealots.
He's going to just attack the probes
forever.
Naniwa needs to wall off, and he's going to be able to get it off. Very nicely done. Naniwa being very forward thinking. He's chasing the Zealot as best as he can.
I'm all of a sudden not so sure. I think Oz might be showing us some of the greatest decision making ever seen, because these Zealots cannot catch this Stalker. Naniwa is not base racing right now.
Yeah, he's not putting Oz on the clock.
There's nothing Naniwa can do in this position that wins the game.
Although he can trap some of these probes, but you're right, Ben, he doesn't have a direct answer to anything. He has to get another Zealot out. Probes trying to do whatever they can, but now the Zealots are there to engage. Probes are actually very valuable in this scenario,
Now they're just going to go home. Oz has bought himself infinite time. There's only 3 Zealots out here for Naniwa, and they can't do anything about these Stalkers.
Oh, wow. Naniwa's going to try to kill off as many probes as possible. Trying to microwave, dodging a lot of the Zealot hits. Look at how many weak probes there are. And Naniwa loses almost everything. He has no way to hold it off.
Naniwa has no answer. Oz somehow holds proxy 2 gate with 1 gateway.
Able to pull his probes, and now Naniwa has to run with his own probes. 11 to 10. one Stalker, one Zealot against 3 Zealots. Naniwa does have 2 Zealots coming into the base and trying to work onto his opponent. Maybe he can buy enough time, but he's trying to escape with his probes. But the Zealot trying to see if he can block and try to get as much damage in as possible. Naniwa's going to race his opponent in terms of elimination. Although that, I mean, there's nothing really stopping off from just going back home and fighting the other Zealots. Naniwa pulling 4 of his Zealots. He's going to have 5. And I think they're going to try to race for time.
He can't fight out on the map. He has to base race. That's the only answer. Oz has no money, so he can't throw down a pylon anywhere. This is all about who can kill who.
But technically, Oz is on, or Naniwa is on the clock because probes are killing all of his pylons. Naniwa does have his he does have his gateways fighting, but he does manage to trap one of the Stalkers. Oz getting a little bit messy with his own control. He does take a lot more damage than he should. And this is something you don't see every day. Probes and Zealots fighting against Stalkers in the middle of the map. Oz trying to run. He's not keeping his probes in check because he's microing his Stalkers as best he can. Any misstep can cost him the game. 13 supply to 16. Oz doing this very well. Still not really losing too much life as he's picking off the probes, the easy targets to pick off. Nicely done. Now Oz starting to work on the Nexus. He killed almost off everything. But imagine if Naniwa was working on some of these buildings. Oz can't really make anything. He doesn't have any resources.
Well, I think it's over right now. Naniwa does not seem to be in a position that he can win. He's got 1 Zealot back at his main base. But he's going to be fighting his 10 probes.
Good job.
Good job, says Naniwa. And Oz is our winner in a crazy game. Naniwa leads the game. Oz waits 10 seconds, then types GG. Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre game.
I'm still kind of wondering about that, Ben, because and it's really tough. It's like one of the hardest calls to ever make of like where to send your Zealots and your Stalkers as the game progresses in that scenario. But do you think Naniwa could have played that any differently? Should he send Zealots to the base and force Oz to make a pressure situation?
It's so easy to look back in hindsight, but what I think the best thing Naniwa could have done there is just kind of force the race. Once Oz walks down the ramp, he doesn't have vision up the ramp. So you can put 2 Zealots on the ramp, and a Stalker can't come up without getting hit a couple of times. That's just kind of an inevitable situation. Meanwhile, 2 more Zealots are pounding away at your buildings, and eventually you're going to die.
He has buildings up his ramp, so like in essence, Naniwa can just protect his pylon and gateways.
Yep. And as long as he's mining back at home, he's still producing units, whereas Oz has no probes.
Maybe he doesn't know if Oz has enough resources to make stuff, because we know Oz has 45 minutes. He can't make a single darn thing.
But so what? If Naniwa is forcing the race, then Oz has to either send all of his units to Naniwa's base and try to win it that way, or, you know, what is planting a pylon in the middle of the map going to do? What is planting a Nexus in the middle of the map going to do?
Well, maybe
in that kind of a situation.
It's such a hard thing to say because we don't know so many variables.
It's a ridiculous situation, and you can't be critical of Naniwa for making the wrong choice because who practices that?
In fact, I credit Oz with a great choice, forcing Naniwa to run across the map and then running all the way back and being able to fight in the open.
Yeah, crazy, bizarre game. Awesome way to end our day of games. That one was brought to you by Cooler Master, who makes fine gaming peripherals, including keyboards, mice, cases, and more. Head over to coolermaster-usa.com where you can place an order for your own Cooler Master gear. We're going to take a short break. We will be wrapping up the show when we get back. Guys, don't go anywhere. Final thoughts and a final look at Division 2 when we get back.